It's certainly the biggest political newsbreak of 2023, taking a big step towards the one nation, one election proposal. The centre has now also set up a committee to study the issue and come out with a suitable, sustainable formula. The panel will be headed by former President Ramnath Kovind. BJP Chief JP Nadda on Friday will be meeting with Ramnath Kovind soon after the former president was tasked with the responsibility of heading that committee. This move now comes just a day after the centre had announced a special session of the Parliament all the way from 18th of September to 22nd, wherein crucial legislations are likely to be brought up, and one of that would be the One Nation, One Election bill. While the government is now tight-lipped about the likely agenda in the session, India Today has exclusively learned that the government is likely to bring in the One Nation, One Election bill, apart from a few other bills, including women reservation. Meanwhile, the announcement has also caught the attention of political parties across the opposition. Clearly, all of them taken by surprise, triggering this political war of words now, while opposition says that Prime Minister Modi or the BJP itself is threatened by the India alliance, and they're vehemently opposing this move, deeming it unconstitutional and against basic principles of democracy.
अभी तो कमेटी रचा है, इतना घबराने का क्या जरूरत है? अभी तो कमेटी रचाया गया है। कमेटी रचाने के बाद इसका कमेटी का रिपोर्ट आएगा। कमेटी का रिपोर्ट पब्लिक डोमेन में चर्चा होगा। अगर पार्लियामेंट में जब आता है, पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा होगा। ये मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी में बहुत बार ऐसे, ये तो एवोल्यूशन है। ये एवोल्यूशन में अभी नया नया जो विषय आता है देश के हित में, उसका तो चर्चा तो करना चाहिए। तो चर्चा करने के लिए कमेटी रचा दिया गया है। तो इसका अर्थ ये नहीं है कि कल से ही हो जाएगा, ऐसे तो हमने थोड़ी कहा है।
क्या इम्पोर्टेंट और कोर इशू 2014 से नहीं था? 2023 में याद आ गया जब सत्ता हाथ से जा रही है। तो ये सब बाकी सब बकवास है। 3 कमेटी रिपोर्ट्स पहले ही आ चुकी हैं और वो 3 कमेटी रिपोर्ट्स बहुत स्पष्ट तरीके से कहती हैं कि 5 अमेंडमेंट्स करने पड़ेंगे। 5 अमेंडमेंट्स में लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में 3/4 सबको सहमति होनी चाहिए। फिर ये स्टेट असेंबलीज में जाएंगे। स्टेट असेंबलीज में ये आधे से ज्यादा मेजॉरिटी होगी, तब ये पारित होंगे। तो दुनिया को और देश को बेवकूफ बनाना बंद करें। देश के एजेंडा पे, इंडिया के एजेंडा पे चर्चा करें।
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, ये इसका मैं स्वागत करता हूं और इसकी वजह से जो हर चुनाव में लोगों के पैसे खर्च होते हैं, बचत हो सकती है। और ये केंद्र सरकार अभी तक के निर्णय लिए, लोगों के फायदे के निर्णय लिए, इसलिए तो देश की
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन ये बहुत ही प्रस्ताव है। इतने रिसोर्सेस उसके पीछे खर्चा होते हैं। लगातार चुनाव के कारण रिफॉर्म का जो प्रोसेस होता है उसमें भी एक प्रेशर आता है और अलग अलग दल फिर अपने राज्यों में उन रिफॉर्म्स को रोक देते हैं ताकि इलेक्शन में उनको फायदा मिल सके। तो वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन के कारण 5 साल की खुली स्लेट रहेगी, पैसा भी बर्बाद नहीं होगा और रिफॉर्म्स की प्रोसेस भी अच्छे तरीके से चलेगी।
One nation, one poll. How do you see this?
Well, firstly, I think calling for an emergency parliament session is just to distract people or get people's attention away from the India alliance. Number one. The second important thing is that how come all these distractions come only whenever PM Modi's friends are in trouble? And also, if it is about one nation and one election, has the government consulted with the concerned authorities? Have they spoken to Election Commission at length? Have they seen the pros and cons? If they have, where is it? Shouldn't they put it up for public debate, or shouldn't they call up shouldn't they call all the political parties, regional and national parties, for a discussion on the pros and cons of it? It requires constitutional amendments. It requires amendments in the People Representations Act, and more importantly, having the simultaneous elections is a humongous task. It's a security nightmare.
One nation, one election के लिए सरकार ने कमेटी बनाई है। यूपी में होगा कि नहीं होगा? यूपी में होगा? आपको लग रहा है यूपी में होगा?
We will oppose it. We will oppose it. BJP government doesn't know what to do. They are actually rattled by what's happening in all the parts of India. If they call for early election, we are ready to face it.
फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट तो इनका ड्राफ्ट आना चाहिए जिस पे डिस्कशन हो पाए, पर प्रमुख रूप से अभी साफ दिखाता है कि ये बार बार अनएथिकल, इमोरल, इम्परमिसिबल अमेंडमेंट्स जो करते हैं, जो लगातार कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पे और फेडरलिज्म पे प्रहार जो करते हैं, अगर कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ पावर एक जगह हो जाता है तो वो निश्चित तौर पे देश के लिए बहुत खतरे की बात है। और मुझे ये सीक्रेसी समझ नहीं आती। अगर इसी बात पर चर्चा है तो व्हाई शुड द गवर्नमेंट नॉट मेक इट पब्लिक? करिए, बात करते, चर्चा करते।
I'm cutting across to Maushmi Singh joining us for more on that. Maushmi, if this is just a mere diversionary tactic as claimed by the opposition parties, then why don't we see the one nation, one election issue being, first of all, you have the committee that's now been set up by the government. It seems like they're serious about tabling this bill, but no reference to a discussion on that at the India Bloc meeting. Or do we know if they're going to be addressing the issue at all?
So, Nabila, clearly if you see the speech of the Congress president, the remarks that he has made, he has clearly steered away from mentioning one nation, one election issue. So clearly the India members feel that this is an attempt to hijack the entire India meet that's happening in Mumbai, and clearly the message that the India members want to give the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi from here is that we are in action mode, we've got a team together, and they're all rallying together to throw out the BJP. And we were told that the coordination committee in this regard will be made that will outline the blueprint for the next 2 months. Perhaps in October we'll see a culmination of all that in a mega rally of sorts. And also, you know, the most tricky issue of the seat sharing. There could be clearly some deliverables there with some strategy or perhaps a team, a crack team being made to sort out the seat sharing differences. But the meeting is still on. Many cards have been kept close. We'll have to wait and see, Nabila, where there is a mention. Certainly the question on one nation, one election will be asked in the presser that will follow. So the India parties perhaps could pat their back that at least they've got their 3 meetings going, and they believe that they have mounted enough pressure on the government and Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attack the India members.
Well, this is certainly the most important news of the year, if one may say. You have 5 state elections that's due to come, including Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana, Chhattisgarh and Mizoram. And these state elections would begin in barely a month's time. Multiple states, as they're getting ready for polls, here's a big bombshell of an announcement that's come in, of course, from really strong sources. It's for the government to now formalize this speculation. They've not yet given a concrete answer on whether indeed this is the bill that will be tabled in the parliament, whether this could come as a surprise. We've got to wait and watch. But for now, we see that there's been movement in ensuring that their commitment towards one nation, one election proposal has already begun. In fact, work has begun. As you see, Ramnath Kovind is the chairman of this very committee that will be deciding a draft of the one nation, one election bill. Now, I'm going to take you through some of the points that really break down for us what exactly the one nation, one election bill will signify. How are they really going to implement it in the first place? Article 83, that's precisely what's the key point here. It states that the term of the Lok Sabha will be 5 years from the date of the first sitting. And then Article 85, as part of this amendment, empowers the president to dissolve the Lok Sabha. This is only in case if the one nation, one election bill is passed. And then we see Article 172, the states that where the term of the Legislative Assembly will be 5 years from the date of the first sitting. Basically, if it's a recently held election, there's a likelihood that the state election or the state assembly could be dissolved as well. Article 174, it empowers the governor to dissolve the Legislative Assembly. And then you have, of course, at this point, Article 356, As we see, Article 356 authorizes the central government to impose precedence rule for failure of constitutional machinery in the state. So the Representation of People's Act, this more or less breaks down for us the way the government could be looking at this one nation, one election proposal. This is how it's going to happen, likely that several of the state assemblies could be dissolved, and if at all there is a hung assembly, then there could be precedence rule as well. So multiple sections in the constitution that really provides for these this mandate here, but it really remains to be seen if everyone's on board with this.